Hello students. Next let us look into the types of communication system and the different kinds of signals that we are having. First we will look at the types of communication system. See, based on the nature of the channel or the kind of information or the kind of modulation, we can define or describe different types of communication system. So let us one by one try to see. For example, first if we are going to look at the communication system based on information source. So what is the kind of information, and for that what is the kind of communication system that we are having? That is basically based on information source. In that, one is we will have some kind of voice communication or voice transmission or speech transmission, and the second is a kind of picture transmission or video transmission. So if I'm trying to look at the different kinds of voice transmission, within this voice transmission we will have mobile is basically for voice transmission, mobile communication, or it may be landline communication. Okay, or if you want to go for voice over internet. Okay, voice over internet protocol. So like that, voice transmission, for each of these case we have a different kind of a communication system. We all these kinds can be grouped together as a voice transmission communication system. Picture one, we can have basically video conferencing or webcams, or you know streaming, just like this online classes that we are having. All of these are basically picture transmission kind of, or picture transmission means it can be even just only picture or picture plus voice. So this is the classification based on the information source. Now let's look the classification based on the mode of transmission. For example, based on the mode of transmission. That means we are talking about analog communication and digital communication. So what are the different modes of analog communication transmission that we are trying to use? For example, within analog, we can say that telegraphy. It is the one of the most earliest form. Telegraphy basically used the Morse code for transmitting information at very long distances. You all might not remember that there used to be a system of telegram, and telegram was used to convey uh, urgent messages in the shortest possible time. So if somebody has suppose passed away in a village and some relative has to be informed about it who is very far away, then they used to telegram, and the telegram used to go as a simple line that relative passed away, come home, something like that, a very short message. So like that, that mode of transmission was basically analog in nature, and it was basically telegraphy. Then the television that we have right now, in cable television it's all digital, but TV broadcast that we used to have DD and all, previously it was all analog in nature. Then landline telephony. So when we say telephone, basically we are talking about landlines. Okay, so landline telephone. Then teleprinting. These are all some of the very old methods, or even you can talk about Radio is also a very old, method which is still prevalent. It's really great that radio is still existing. Previously it used to be all analog, so radio is also a kind of analog transmission. And the wireless set that you see in the hands of police force, that is also in a way analog. So next, let us look at digital. Now when we go to digital, there are lots of examples, starting with fax. Fax, many of you might have not seen. I'm not sure whether how many of you have seen a fax machine. Fax machine was basically used to send a photograph through a telephone line. This is existing before the advent of email and all. So before email, if you wanted to send a copy of your certificate to some office, the best method was to fax it. So the fax, quickly you will receive. At the same time you will receive the image. Then you have mobile phone, again that is completely digital. Or if you look at the internet that we have today, whether it is in mobile, whether it is in computer, whether it's in tab, everywhere it is basically, internet is completely digital communication. Then teleconferencing or video conferencing, that is also coming totally under digital. Then today's communication satellites that we are having, communication satellites that we are having today, they are all digital. They are all used for digital transmission. Basically, very few things are available nowadays which are analog in nature. Then there is a classification based on transmission channel, based on transmission channel. If you remember, I had already taught in the previous video that transmission channel is basically either a wired channel, or it's a wireless channel. And I had already told that in case of wired, you will have landline communication, or optical communication, or even internet via wires, internet through cables. All these are wired communication. Whereas wireless, totally today, nowadays, most of the things are wireless, whether it be mobiles, whether it be Bluetooth, or Wi-Fi. All of these are wireless in nature. Okay, so this is based on. Then we have based on kind of modulation, based on modulation types, that you will study many of them in the, as we go forward you will see them. Some of them are amplitude modulation, frequency modulation, FM. The radio FM that you hear, that FM is basically frequency modulation, or phase modulation. Or we will have, for the case of digital one, we have pulse amplitude modulation, pulse width modulation, pulse position modulation, then pulse coded modulation. All of these are the different types of modulations. So communication system can be defined based on these modulation types. Next, we will look at the types of signals that we have. Types of signals. Basically, we will be dealing with only two kinds of signal. One is the analog signal, and the other one is digital. So we have to understand what is the exact difference between these two so that we are able to clearly demarcate what is the kind of information we are trying to deal with. See, generally, if I am going to look with respect to time, the voice signal will look something like this. So with respect to time, the signal is having different values. At one particular time, the value will be something else. So let this be some time t1, and at a totally different moment of time t2, the value is something else. So the value keeps on changing with respect to time. That is an analog signal. All signals value change with respect to time, but in analog case, the value can be anything. For example, if I am asked, is at any time will this particular value come? Yes, this value comes at this moment, it comes at this moment, it comes at this moment, it comes at this moment. So if you would look at the values, just these values, all these values will occur at some other time. So when I am trying to say that you are having an analog signal, let's say that its maximum value is some 5 voltage and the minimum value is some minus 5 voltage, and your signal will always be any value between it. For example, this signal value at t1, this signal value may be 4.3 volt. At the very next instant, its value may be 4.34 volt or maybe 4.5 volt. So like that, its value will keep on changing. In the case of digital, the signal is not like that. In case of digital, if I am trying to draw, it is also with respect to time, but the signal will be having a definite value of either plus 5 or a value of minus 5. So if I am having, suppose, a signal like this, it means that I am having plus 5 volt at this time. At this time I am having minus 5 volt. At this time also I am having minus 5 volt. At this time I am having plus 5 volt. See, what I have done here is I have divided the time into some kind of a period, and within each period there is different value. There is a different value within each period. Now instead of writing this as plus 5, minus 5, minus 5, plus 5, what people have found out is that it's much better to write the the value as either 1 for plus 5 and 0 for minus 5. Similarly, here also it will be 0, here also it will be 1. So you can see that when we want to send a digital signal looks like this, but basically it is either a 1 or a 0. 1 is for plus 5 and 0 is for minus 5. So you might be automatically asking, how are these two signals different? Like, is this a voice signal? If this is a voice signal, then what kind of signal is this? Well, the simple answer is that analog signal is the natural form of signal, or natural form. It is a natural form in which the information is present. It is a natural form. For example, I will write this as natural form of information. That means right now my voice, it is actually analog in nature. But then how do I convert it into digital? That process is something that is called as, broadly called as analog to digital conversion. And there is a method for doing it, which fortunately you don't have to study now. You will study in your engineering. If you study in electronics and communication, you will be understanding how an analog signal is changing to digital signal. So my voice signal can be, or it will be, of this analog nature, but when I am trying to speak into a mobile, the mobile is only transmitting series of ones and zeros as my information. Why? Because there is an analog to digital conversion. So this is something that we should very clearly understand about analog and digital, that analog is the natural form of information, whereas digital signal is obtained by basically changing the analog signal into a digital signal through a process which is called as analog to digital conversion. It is something that is taking place in a pulse coded modulation PCM system, in a pulse code modulation system, that I have written here also, in a pulse coded modulation system, but that will be something that will come later. But right now you can just look at this. Now another thing I want to tell about the analog signal is, see, if you are going to take an analog signal, which let me say is sine some, let's say some frequency 5t. Okay, so sine 5t, if I am trying to draw with respect to time, the signal will look like this. So let me draw it. The signal will look something like this. So it's a sine. So this is how a sine wave looks like. You all have studied. Similarly, if I am going to make another signal, let's say sine 30t. So what I have done is I have increased the frequency. I have increased the frequency of the sine wave. So in that case, if I am going to draw that signal, then that signal will have frequency which is 6 times greater than the frequency that we have already drawn here. So that will look something like, it will look something like this, a much smoother sine wave. And what will happen if I add both of these together? If I add both of these signals together, the signal that I will be getting looks something like this. It may look something like this. Now if I am going to add another signal, again the shape of this one will change. So basically what I want to tell here is, whenever you have any signal, let's say a signal like this, some signal like this, which is with respect to time, then this signal will be a combination of some frequency, let's say sine 5t plus sine 20t plus sine 55, let's say 54.3t, some small frequencies it will be there. So if I am trying to look at a signal, the same signal, if I am trying to look at with respect to frequency, I will find out that this signal has a pure sine wave in 5 frequency, in 20 frequency, in 54 hertz frequency. So I will say that, okay, it has some portion of, let's say the 5 is here, then I will say it has some portion of 5 hertz frequency, some portion of 20 hertz frequency, some portion of 54.3 hertz frequency. So this is all hertz. So both these signals, this signal will have two forms of representation. One is the time representation and the second one is frequency representation, and they both are related. So if I am trying to have any signal, now I have just drawn, here I have just drawn 3 signals, but actually it is not 3. There might be many in between, many frequencies in between might be there. So if you look at any signal, a signal will basically have many different frequencies. That is why we said that if you look at the human voice will have a range from 300 hertz to 3100 hertz. So that is the bandwidth of human voice range. That is the bandwidth of human voice range. So whenever we look at a signal, we have to look at what is its behavior in time and what is its behavior in frequency. And why is this important is because when we are talking about modulation, what we do is, suppose if I am going to draw the frequency axis, and suppose if I am trying to draw my signal or my voice signal will have some feature that it might be existing from some low frequency to high frequency. Let me name that low frequency as 300 hertz to this, let it be 3100 hertz. So this is my human voice. Now when I am saying that I want to do modulation, when I say that I want to do modulation, what I am basically trying to do is I am trying to shift this to a very higher frequency. So the center of this one, it might be some 1.5 kilohertz. I'm trying to push that further away. For example, if you look at Radio Mangalam is at 91.2 megahertz. So I am trying to shift my signal from 1.5 kilohertz to all the way up to 91.2 megahertz, which makes my signal reach here. And that is basically what is happening in my this thing. So remember, this is frequency. I have not drawn the time period here. I have not drawn it with respect to time. So you must understand that a signal in time will be also represented by a frequency graph, and most of the time we are interested in the frequency graph because that is what tells us where our signal is. So whenever someone is tuning into a radio of Radio Mangalam, what they are trying to do is they are slowly trying to move their receiver antenna slowly. They are tuning the receiver antenna so that it basically tunes into each of these frequencies. But since there are nothing there, all I will hear is some static noise. And then as soon as I reach at 91.2 FM, the signal that is there in that will be captured and I will be able to hear my voice through the radio. So that is basically what happens. So all this is analog in nature. Now why did we go from analog to digital? You have to understand that very clearly, that when we say that we are going from analog to digital, what happened? Why did we go from analog to digital? See, if I am going to take an analog signal, if suppose it is sent from one transmitter antenna to a receiver antenna, so I will write this as the transmitter antenna and this as the receiver antenna. Then the signal, when it is going from here to here, two things are going to take place. Mainly two things. There are many other things that will take place, but mainly two things. One is that attenuation will take place. That is, the strength of the signal will reduce as it is traveling forward. The second thing that will take place is noise will get added. Noise addition. And don't think that noise will get added in between. Noise does not get added in between. Noise gets added at the antenna, because the antenna receives all signals. So other than the main information signal that is coming, the other noise that is there around, that means if someone has suppose started a scooter, the spark plug will generate some noise and that noise will come here. Somewhere someone is hearing a radio, that signal is sometimes some part of that signal is also absorbed. So like that, the receiver will absorb the original signal and also the other noise signals that are there. Now what happens to a signal? This signal is at the transmitter. Okay, this signal is at the transmitter. It was a very clean signal. But when it reached at the receiver, if you are going to draw the same signal at the receiver, the same signal will look something like this. It will look something like this. almost the same signal, but it has lots of noise, and also the amplitude might have reduced. I have not reduced the amplitude here, but you can understand that the amplitude is also reduced. So in a way, the original signal is somewhat lost. It is somewhat lost. That is why the old songs, the clarity is not very good, because not lot of noise is there. But then, if you are going to look into a digital signal, what is a digital signal? A digital signal is basically either a plus 5 or a minus 5. So suppose I am having plus 5, minus 5, again one plus 5, then again one more plus 5, and then a minus 5, which basically I was trying to transmit 1 0 1 1 0. This was what I was trying to transmit, but I cannot transmit as 1 and 0. I basically transmit it as plus 5 voltage or minus 5 voltage. Now, if this is starting at the transmitter and if it is reaching at the receiver, the same thing of attenuation and noise addition will take place here. So now the signal will look something like this. The attenuation I am going to draw here, and the noise also I am going to draw here. So I will basically draw it something like this. So you can see that the red signal is now the received signal. You can see the noise is there, the attenuation has happened. But then, what is the voltage here? The voltage here is somewhere plus, let's say, 1 volt, and the negative voltage here is, let's say, some minus 3 volt. At the receiver, they can say that all the positive voltages will be taken as 1 and all the negative voltages will be taken as zeros. So you can see that, so this is again going to be 1, this is again going to be 1, this is going to be 0. So what has happened? The signal that I wanted to send, the information that I wanted to send was 10110, and what I have received is also 10110. So in a way, the information loss is very less. It is very less. Even though the attenuation and noise addition was just as we had in case of analog, but here the noise and the attenuation has not affected the digital signal much. So as we can see here, that we get the signal completely back in the case of a digital signal. Now all the time it does not happen exactly like this. Sometimes the noise is so large that sometimes the signal may travel the other side. So it may come something like this. So there may be mistakes, but still if you are going to take a digital signal, out of 1 million signal, out of 1 million bits, maybe 2 bits or maybe 4 bits may go wrong, and that's not going to make a big effect in the signal. That is the reason why a digital transmission looks very crystal clear, whereas in analog you have lots of noise. So one of the good things about digital signal is that the digital signal can be cleaned. The digital signal can be cleaned. That means if I get this bit information back, I can again regenerate this waveform that we see in green here, or let me draw it once again, this signal that can again be drawn from this information that we have gathered, that is 10110. We can again make a signal very clean in the repeater, but that cannot be done here because we don't know exactly what is the amplitude in the case of a analog signal, because its value will keep on changing. So we don't know exactly what is the value, so we can never get the signal back in case of analog signal. That is why in digital, when we have a repeater in digital and when we have a repeater in analog, let's say first the case of analog. In analog, all that a repeater does is, suppose you are having a signal which is having a, if you are having a signal which has a noise like this, a noisy signal like this, all that a repeater does is it basically amplifies that signal. and sends it forward. Whereas in case of digital, the information that will be basically informed in this form, where this is basically, 0 1 0 0 1, this same information when coming out of the repeater will look something like 0 1 0 0 1. So you can see that the noise is totally cancelled off in the repeater, and that is the advantage of a digital signal. So now let us look at some of the questions that have come. Very few questions will come in this part, but still they come. For example, a point-to-point communication mode is seen in. Now let us look at this. Satellite cable communication. In satellite cable communication, what we have is there is a transmitter antenna, ground antenna, and there is a satellite, and then there are many receiving antennas. The signal basically goes from the ground station to the satellite, and finally it is broadcasted to different receiving satellites. So that is how it will basically happen. For example, New Delhi, we are having a Doordarshan program being telecast. That program will go and it will be relayed to maybe Chennai and Bangalore, and from there it will come to each and every house. So satellite cable connection communication is basically again not a point to point mode. Point to point mode is when it goes from one point, finally it reaches to the second point. So there is one transmitter and there is one receiver, and there is nobody else in between. Next is the television transmission. Television transmission again is not a point to point communication, because what happens in a television is that you are having a big antenna, let's say, that covers a particular city, a big city. There is a big antenna, and there are many TVs in each and every house, and what the signal is doing is it is basically sending it to everywhere. That is basically called as a broadcasting. Broadcast, that means casting means to spread, to send. Broadcasting means you are very broadly sending it. That means you are sending from one person to many persons. So the one TV antenna is basically broadcasting to many different TVs. FM radio is also similar. Instead of TV, if you are going to take a radio is also similar. There is one radio antenna and there are many radios that are there in and around the area. AM radio transmission is also, because it's again a radio transmission itself. Whereas when you come to a fax transmission is basically one person trying to send his certificate to another telephone line which is having a fax receiving message, where the image of the certificate basically comes out. That is a fax transmission machine, which is a point-to-point form of communication. Next, if you look at another problem, pick out the wrong statement. Analog signals provide a continuous set of values. That is true. Analog signals do provide a continuous set of values. Discrete signal represents values as discrete sets. That is also true. Now, let me explain that a little bit. I had told you that 101 can be represented by a high voltage, that is 5 volt, and a low voltage that will be represented as a 0, and a high which is +5 and -5. There is another way also, that instead of having one bit, you can have multiple bits, and you can have, let's say, +5 volt, +10 volt, -5 and -10. So previously for +5 we had 1 and for -5 we had 0. Then in this case for +5 we will have, let's say, this is for 0 0, this is for 0 1, this is for 1 0, and this is for 1 1. You can see that each of these combinations are different. So if suppose I want to send a waveform or let's say I have to send a signal which is 1001. Basically what I do in this case is I send a 1, a 0, and then another 0, and then a 1. This is what I send. Whereas what I can do here is I can send the same signal but in a shorter duration of time, and so it is 1001. So 10 is here and 01 is this. So I will just send a 10 and a 01. So the receiver will understand that it is 10, it is 01, and suppose next after that it was 1110. So the waveform will look like this. From here I will go to 11, and then from there I will go to 10. 10 is again this one, so it will come like this. So you can see that instead of 2 steps I am having 4 steps. I am having 4 steps, which is plus 10, plus 5, minus 5, minus 10. So like that, there are the analog will have a continuous set of values, whereas the digital signal will have discrete steps. So both these are correct. Analog signals cannot utilize the binary system. Yes, it cannot utilize the binary system. You cannot send an analog signal through a binary system because binary system only understands 2 levels, which is 0 and 1, which is represented by either a plus 5 or a minus 5, or in this case a 10, 5, minus 5 and a 10. So it does not understand a binary system. So you cannot utilize a binary system. Digital signals can be processed by logic gates. That is also correct. Okay, that is also correct, because digital signals are in fact processed by logical gates like AND gate, OR gate, etc. The last one is now, see, this signal, this answer would have actually confused me, because when you study quite deep, this fact also can come slowly correct, but then I can very clearly say that these 4 are correct. That's why I'm basically selecting this as a wrong statement, that digital signals can utilize decimal as well as binary systems. Originally decimal it cannot do, but when we go to very higher studies, you can understand that it can do that also. But anyway, so this is basically the 2 questions that I got in the previous 6 to 7 years. So you can see that not much questions are asked in this section, because this is a very basic section. The next session we will have a little bit more questions. Thank you.